Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to start, today's day 3. We're going to go ahead and continue where we left off yesterday. So yesterday we talked about strings, basic input and output. We learned about basic numbers, floats, operations, and whatnot. Interesting day so far, everything really basic. Today we're getting into string operations. Concatenation. As with integers and floats, strings in Python can be added using a process called concatenation. That is a weird word, which can be done on any two strings. When concatenating strings, it doesn't matter whether they've been created with single or double quotes. Okay? Okay, so basically what this is saying is you can add strings or words together. So in the example here, spam plus eggs, the result is spam eggs, and it puts that together. So if we print first string plus comma plus second string, then it prints out first string comma second string. So it's kind of cool that you can perform mathematical operations with strings, and that's the way that it views that it accepts that. So I mean, let's go ahead and let's try something a little different. So we see that we can add these strings together. What happens if we subtract them? For example, if we were to subtract these things, would it do anything, or would it just give us an error? Okay, so you can't subtract strings, at least not in this situation. Let's see if you were to multiply strings, what would happen? I'm assuming it would just give you another error, but let's find out. Yep, again, you can't do that. And now, another thing I wanted to try, what happens if you were to add, say, like a number to the string? Okay, so it can't do that, but I believe if we make this a number, if we turn it into a string by adding the double quotation marks, that should work. It should print first string 4, and yep, that's what we get there. So that's good to know. Now I have seen something before where you can multiply strings, and they may go over this later, but I want to try it out to see if it's true. So if we multiply a string by a number, okay, so it actually does work. So it just prints out that string the number of times that we multiply it by. So if we were to multiply it just by 2, it should print out first string 2 times. Yep, and that's the case. So that's good to know, good thing to learn. Let's go ahead and continue. You can't concatenate strings with integers. So that's what we were just kind of messing around with. Let's go ahead and find out why. Fill in the missing string. Hello plus world, make that a string with a quotation mark, and that should give us hello world. Yep. Okay. Concatenation. Even if your strings contain numbers, they are still added as strings rather than integers. Adding a string to a number produces an error, as even though they might look similar, they are two different entities. Okay, so we kind of messed around with this. I kind of skipped ahead in the lesson. 2 plus 2 gives you 22, so it doesn't add it. Because these are strings, it doesn't do the simple math operation. That's why it's printing out 22 and not 4. If we were to go here, 1 plus string 2 plus integer 3 plus string 4, it gives us that type error that we were seeing previously. In future lessons, only the final line of error messages will be displayed, as it is the only one that gives details about the type of error that has occurred. Okay. Which line of code produces an error? 1 plus 2, 3 plus 4. So it's going to be this one, because we can't do that. We can't add the string plus the integer. Okay. Strings can also be multiplied by integers. So again, we kind of skipped ahead. We already did this. This produces a repeated version of the original string. The order of the string and the integer doesn't matter, but the string usually comes first. Strings can't be multiplied by other strings. Strings also can't be multiplied by floats, even if the floats are whole numbers. Okay, that's good to know. So we kind of looked at this previously. So if you multiply this string by an integer, it just repeats this string that many times. And so these are just examples of that. The reason that this one isn't working is because it's multiplying a string by a string. So even though these are both numbers, since they have the quotation marks, Python reads those as strings and it can't do that operation. That's why it's giving us that error. Python is fun times 7.0. Again, this one doesn't work because, like I said previously, you can't multiply strings by floats. Okay, try to multiply a string by 0 and see what happens. Okay, yeah, let's try that. I have no idea what's going to happen. So I mean, let's just erase this let's just try that. Let's just do spam times 0, and okay, nothing happens. So I guess it just doesn't print it at all. I'm not sure what that would be used for, but maybe it's just a cool trick. I don't know. Okay, what is the output of this code? Print 3 times string 7. So that should just print 7 3 times. Okay. So that was string operations. Our next class is going to be type conversion.